Obviously, first games first, the LSU A&M, the primetime game, the who is going to be the number one team in the SEC game, and it did not disappoint. LSU came out hot. I thought LSU looked very strong on both sides of the football. They look like the team we've seen over the past couple weeks. Garrett Nussmeier, the offense is rolling. The receivers are making plays. You get Chris Hilton back, another weapon on offense. Aaron Anderson had the big touchdown catch, amazing catch. Everything seemed to be working out perfectly. Defense was eating. And Connor Wegman, that was the big thing that we talked about last week. What Connor Wegman were you going to get in this football game? Were you going to get the Notre Dame, the Mississippi State Connor Wegman, or were you going to get the Missouri one? And didn't have a turnover, but you got more of the Wegman that looked rattled, uncertain. Things were happening too fast. Receivers weren't getting open, a couple tip balls. The offense was not flowing well. And give credit to Baker. I thought he had a great game plan early in the first half. And this was a change of LSU came in with a great game plan to start the game. And Elko and his staff and the adjustments they made at halftime were absolutely incredible on both sides of the football. Then obviously bringing Marcel Reed in was just a cherry on top and what he's able to do in the run game. But LSU dominated. And I know there's a lot of fans on Twitter, just cracks me up. So I tweeted, because this is from me talking with lots of coaches. Like I sat down with Pittman and the Arkansas staff last week as I got ready for their game. And we were talking about LSU the week before. They kind of were in it against LSU. Then LSU ran away with it. End of the third quarter, fourth quarter, ended up winning big against Arkansas, the Razorbacks. And they all said, like, man, that Nussmeier guy is legit. Like, he is really, really good. He may not be the same as Jaden a year ago, but number 13 is a really good quarterback. I was like, yeah, I ranked him as my number one quarterback in the SEC. Partly due because there's not a lot of great quarterbacks right now in the SEC, or the great quarterbacks are not playing great at the moment. But Garrett is playing really good football. And of course, I tweeted that out last night that I would take Garrett over anyone in college football at the moment. And it somewhat bit me in the butt because he goes and throws 3 interceptions in the second half. But focusing on the first half, everything was going right besides the drops, besides the missed field goals. You cannot go on the road and make those kind of mistakes. It's kind of what we've talked about with Alabama in years past with Nick Saban. When you have your foot on the throat, you can't mess up. You can't let go. Alabama was so good for so long. It's like when they got on top, they suffocated you. And for LSU to not capitalize going into a hostile environment against a well-coached football team and not take advantage of those opportunities to put the game into a position where A&M starts thinking in the back of their mind, we're out of it. Because there are moments like that in football games as a football team. I've been on both sides where it's just not going to happen. But when it's only 17-7 and it's a 10-point game, I don't care how bad you're playing, you're still in it. They're still on the sideline, and then going into halftime, that feeling of we are still in this, boys. We are one possession away from being down 3 points. That's it. We're not down 20. We're not down 28. We are down by 10 points. That is it. So for how bad A&M was playing in the first half and how well LSU was playing, it felt like LSU should be up 3 scores. And at that point, A&M starts pressing. A&M starts doing things they probably shouldn't do. But A&M can make the adjustments without going crazy because it was only a 10-point game. So unfortunately for LSU, unable to pull away and really make it a bigger deficit in the first half. But Mike Elko, he said it. We're going to go in there and make the adjustments on defense, give Garrett Nussmeier some different looks, and the defense was great. And they made the change that I was surprised Marcel Reed was not the quarterback for the past 3 weeks. Wegman is inconsistent. I can't trust a quarterback that is that inconsistent. In this league, where games are going to be tight and you're not going to just blow everyone out, I can't go into it and saying, I got a really good defense. I got a tremendous offensive line and run game. Daniels went off. We know what you got in Le'Veon Moss. But at the end of the day, this is still a quarterback-driven league. I cannot have a guy go out there and be heckle and jive. Like I just can't do that. And you got the worst Wegman last night. You put in Marcel Reed, and I think advantage Reed in the sense of I don't know how much LSU, and I'll have to go back and listen to the post game for the coaches. I don't know how much LSU game planned for Marcel Reed. So that's a huge advantage for A&M. You all week as an LSU Tiger, you've watched the tape. You've seen the past 2 weeks against Missouri, against Mississippi State, that Connor Wegman is the guy. So you prepare your defense to play Connor Wegman. And I'm sure that maybe you a little bit here or there, you practice some zone reads in case there is a package for Marcel Reed, but that's maybe 5% of the week. So 5% of your week was working on Marcel Reed and what they would do because you have to prepare for Connor Wegman and what they do schematically for him. So Marcel comes in there, and I don't think LSU was ready for it. They just weren't. And you can blame them, you can't blame them, but you have to understand this. You only get so many hours during the week to game plan defensively, to be in meetings, to be in walkthroughs, to be in practice. So Marcel Reed has not played in 2 weeks. How much of a game plan in hours and time do I want to spend getting our guys ready to face number 10 compared to getting him ready to face Connor Wegman? Not a lot. That's just that's the unfortunate, because of the time constraints, that's what you have to do. So they were not ready for the change. A&M hit him with the curveball, and it was off to the races from the very first snap. Zone read, booms, touchdown. Zone read, guys are not taking Marcel Reed, not respecting him, and he made you pay. Then all of a sudden you do respect him, and then the run game started to get going a little bit. And then the shot plays down the field where the guy's running wide open down the seam because the safeties are a little bit too aggressive, thinking that he's just a runner. So right now for A&M, I think 2 things. One, or really just one main thing. I don't think it needs to be. Marcel Reed needs to be your guy going forward. Connor Wegman has not proven he can be consistent. Marcel Reed at least gives you the opportunity to put defenses on their heels. Will it be that good week in and week out going forward? Maybe, maybe not, because I think a team now going forward will prepare knowing that Marcel Reed is probably going to be the guy at quarterback. So that's A&M. LSU second half, I think it's a mixture of, yes, A&M mixed up some stuff defensively to confuse Garrett Nussmeier, but that's on Garrett Nussmeier. Those interceptions were him trying to make plays when plays were not there. I mean, you were still up 17-7. It still, everything felt like it was in LSU's hands. You're rolling to your left, and then you try and throw the ball across your body, and it turns into an interception. The thing that makes Garrett Nussmeier great, and I had LSU a few weeks ago, and we talked about this with the coaching staff. The thing that makes him great is the fact that he believes he can make every single throw out there. The Brett Favre mentality, I'm just going to let it rip, and that's why he makes some really impressive throws. But you live by that, you're going to die by that. And he died by that last night in the second half because he tried to make throws that weren't there because there's not a throw out there that he doesn't think he can make. That interception, turnaround, touchdown, Marcel Reed within 2 plays, once again, changed that football game. You went from we're dominating, we're just not putting points up, but we still feel like we're really in control, to all of a sudden you throw a pick, they score, and then they feel great, the fans feel great, and then your butt starts to get tight. This reminds me a little bit of we're up by 10 points against Alabama in 2012. Everyone remembers this game. Up by 10 points. We just blocked a field goal, returning for a touchdown, Alec Ogletree. And I'm telling you, on the sideline, we're all looking at each other saying, we're going to the national championship. Like, we were feeling ourselves. Like, we're winning this damn football game. We're in control. We're moving on offense. Defense just got a nice stop. We got the field. We got the special teams touchdown. Everything is going our way. And then, bam, Alabama scores in like 5 plays. And then our butts get tight. They got the momentum. They end up getting a stop, scoring again, taking the lead, and then obviously they win the football game. That's why 2-score leads, I know people always laugh at me when I say 2-score leads are so dangerous because you feel good about it, but all it takes is 1 score, and it's a one-score game, and then the team that's winning kind of feels the pressure more than the team that's losing at that point because the momentum is swung completely to their side. A&M took that momentum. The fan base was incredible last night, as we expected, and they found out a way to not only win the football game, but absolutely dominate in the second half, win it by double digits. 14 points in the third quarter, 17 points in the fourth quarter, and now the Aggies 7-1, 5-0 in the conference play, are the East. You got Alabama after the bye week now. So LSU's still in the playoff hunt, no doubt about it. I still really like this football team. I like their offense. I like what they're doing on defense with Baker. I think that this is still one of the better teams in the SEC. And you look at their schedule going forward. There's no reason why LSU can't be 10-2 and still be in that playoff discussion. A&M 7-1, 5-0 in the conference. A little bit of a tougher schedule going forward. At South Carolina next week. Obviously, you got Texas coming to your house end of the season. So everything's in front of A&M now. You control your destiny of getting to Atlanta, getting to the playoffs, and you have a quarterback. You got an O-line that's playing well. You got running backs. You got a defense. This is a very talented team. And Mike Elko, man, hell of a hire in the off season.